and was leaned,
the
level. Hip hinge, and he went down, it gets level. And be in a good position by the time I make contact and drive the ball.
I like to think of the swing as a circle, tap, and explode from there.
It goes against everything that I was taught and everything I tried to do.
It's easy to start to go, well, everything's against me.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a baseball discussion that every young player and parent needs to hear. So stay tuned with myself and World Series MVP Ben Zobrist as we tackle the science of hitting, the mental game, and some controversial hitting theories that may have you scratching your head. This is an episode that you won't want to miss. So we'll back up for a minute. I am here in Ben Zobrist's machine barn, where I guess they used to handle a lot of equipment and stuff.
Well, yeah, this was a diesel mechanics barn before I purchased it years ago, and we ended up putting this batting cage in, opening it up a little bit. But yeah, we call it the machine barn because they used to work on machines in here, whether it was tractors or diesel engines. They had a big hoist, a lift, they would pull it up out, and so we just call it the machine barn. But yeah, this is, hopefully you learn how to be a hitting machine in here too, you know. Well, never really worked that well for me.
Oh, yeah, right.
It did okay.
That banner up on the wall would say otherwise.
It did okay.
So,
it did okay.
Man. Well, hey, good to see you again, buddy.
Too, man.
Yeah,
good
glad to get
you,
together with you. So, as you guys know already, Ben played Major League Baseball for the better part of 14 seasons, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Had great success with several teams, the Chicago Cubs, World Series MVP. So I'm honored to be here. Ben's become a good friend since our careers ended. Mine ended in, I think 2011 was my last pro game in AA with the Phillies. And that was 7 minor league seasons. And then yours 14. When was your last game?
2019.
2019. Time's flying, right?
Yeah, I can't believe it's been 6+ years now almost. So, yeah, I've been retired for a little while, as we both have. But the game keeps changing.
Does it?
Baseball changes, but certain things stay the same. And so I think that's part of what we want to discuss here.
Absolutely. Yeah, so this all started kind of interesting. I'm scrolling Instagram, and I come across a hitting teacher known as the Teacherman. I'll have to look up his name, and I'll play a little 15-second clip showing some of the things that I was kind of shocked by for this reason, because it goes against everything that I was taught and everything I tried to do. And usually when I did maybe some of the things that you'll see him doing, I didn't have as good a success.
Some people call him teacher. Some call him Snapman. In a way, Richard Skank is a master of paradox. The owner of Teachers Billiards in St. Peter's now moonlights as a teacher for some of baseball's biggest stars. Not bad for a father of 3 who never played higher than Division II.
In an unsuspecting building in St. Charles,
That's good.
is where you'll find a 64-year-old man,
Our swing has to be as quick as a muscle twitch.
Richard Skank,
The guys I work with call me Snapman because I keep saying snap it.
has spent the last 15 years
There's a hand pivot point that snaps the barrel like this.
perfecting the baseball swing.
My big client that everybody knows is Aaron Judge.
That's right, Aaron Judge, the Yankees outfielder who had a breakout year in 2017, hitting 52 home runs en route to winning Rookie of the Year.
However, I reached out to Ben and I said, Ben, what do you think about this? Because I noticed you follow this guy too. And you said, well, there's some validity here for certain types of players, and maybe every player is different, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I'll stop right there and just say, I think, like you said, there's certain things that are going to be universal. They're always going to work, whether you're a kid or an adult, right?
Yeah.
And we'll talk about some of that. But then there's also some things I want to learn about today from you about hitting.
Well, disclaimer, because neither one of us are hitting coaches. And we learned a lot, but one of my pet peeves is when, players that knew something really worked for them as a hitter, and they think that's the way that it should be done, that everybody should do it that way because it worked for them. There are certain moves physically that we know have to happen. Physiologically, you've got to make certain things, make the bat do certain things, make your body do certain things in order to get the power into the ball and make contact and all those things. And yet, the way that you think about making those moves is different for a lot of different people.
Right.
Right. So I think as video has taken off, and people are able to see those moves in slow motion a lot more clearly, there are a lot of different ways to try to achieve those.
Yeah.
And Teacherman has this move that obviously has gained a lot of notoriety, primarily with Aaron Judge. I
Yes.
mean, let's be honest, he's the best hitter that we've seen in a long time in the modern game. Like, the only guy I can compare him to is Mike Trout, with the way Mike Trout was so consistent and power and average and all that kind of stuff all at the same time early in his career. And he's still playing, right? He's still a great hitter. He's one of the guys that I admire, the way he's played the game for the entire length of his career. Same thing with Judge. And these guys, though, think about hitting probably dramatically different
From each other.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And a lot of hitters in the major leagues think about hitting differently. What worked for them, what they grew up with. So we have to start with this premise that, yeah, there are moves that everyone has to learn how to do, but the way that you get to those moves could be dramatically different, and we got to respect the different perspectives that come into play there, right? And so there are a lot of different teachers that have different philosophies, and my pet peeve is seeing a teacher think that everybody should have that philosophy.
Right.
Oh, this is the fastest way for you to get to this move. Because what I have seen is some of the Teacherman moves that are made for certain kids that don't have the strength and don't have the practice with the speed of pitching that they're going to see as they rise up the ranks. Some of those moves actually end up being detrimental for developing their swing.
Yes, and there's a difference too, and you'll see this in the comments, whether you're looking at Teacherman or other hitting teachers, they talk about the difference in feel versus real. You've heard that phrase probably?
Sure.
So it's like I can tell myself to feel a certain way. It doesn't mean that's what my body's actually doing, but the feeling or the thought of it maybe gets me on plane.
Right.
One thing for me as in the minor leagues, I was always taught, and I don't agree with this anymore, but this is where I flipped and learned a new way. I had an open enough mind after some failure. I was always taught, Jeremy, swing down on the ball,
Sure.
create back, swing down.
Sure.
Well, the truth is I kind of had an uppercut. The more I thought go down, my body created this loop that would happen because I was thinking down. Something in my brain knew you can't actually, like, if a ball's coming this way and you're trying to swing down on it, that's not actually going to work very well. You're either going to chop it or pop it straight. It's just the planes aren't very good. And the hitting teacher said, Jeremy, you naturally do have a little bit of a lift in your swing, and that's okay. Why don't you think, he said, do you think Jim Edmonds is a good hitter? He swings almost like straight up.
It looks like it, yeah.
Right, but he said he's short to the ball. So he's like, why don't you think more about getting on plane with the ball quickly and stop over swinging? So I made an adjustment where I stopped thinking this, and I started thinking, I just want to get my bat on the plane of the baseball and more like an A-Rod style, like see how long I can keep that bat through the hitting zone. I'll be honest, when I watch Aaron Judge, he gets it on, he's tall, right? So the strike zone's a little different. He gets on plane super fast because this is on plane now. Like,
right
immediately,
away.
right away. Then he's out of plane maybe faster than I would like to see. But here he is, 70 home runs. So,
Well, if he's in the back of the box and he's in the plane from the back to, and he's powerful and in the entire time in the plane, then it works for him and it gives him the maximal amount of distance from where the pitcher lets go of the ball to meet the ball.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're swinging in front, if you're trying to swing down on the ball and you don't get to the plane of the ball until you get to the very front of your swing, well, look, if he's on the plane back here and you're not on the plane till there, and then there's a very short distance that you're actually in the plane of the baseball where you can make contact. Whereas he might have a longer distance and it's further back. So that further back part of the distance of where you're on plane is enabling somebody like that to have more time.
If he's able, like, so the videos I'm watching where I say he comes out, when he'll do that and then hit he'll kind of back leg it, I would call it. That's on a fastball that he's connecting with perfectly. As long as he's still got the ability to get a little fooled and use his hands, you understand what I'm saying? Like,
for 100%. So let's talk about the idea that, first, I'll give you my history because you gave a little history of how you learned to swing. I grew up in the 90s as a hitter, and the whole idea was swing down on the ball. Everybody talked about swinging down on the ball. All the major league hitters were talking about swinging down on the ball.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of what you see now, because now it's like get on plane and lift, and fly balls actually produce production. And the idea here is different schools of thought, same goal, but now because we have video, we're trying to shortcut getting to the goal, right? And sometimes there are certain things that can't be shortcut.
Right.
And I'm going to talk about that because I think getting your hands to the ball enables one principle that really, really matters to factor in here. It's, I got to be able to hit the fastest fastball. I've heard other players, hitting coaches talk about that. If you can hit the fastest fastball with your best swing, then from there you work on the other stuff. It's not work off, just try to get on plane and now I'm crushing off speed pitches, but all the heaters I'm missing underneath.
Yep.
If you're missing fastballs underneath everything,
Yep.
even if you're doing the Teacherman move and you're getting in plane back here,
Yeah.
that's a big problem.
Yeah, and that was my big problem.
And so for a lot of people that have that problem, it's, well, then the focus isn't drop that. It's get to the front of the zone with your barrel, and the shortest way to get there is to think down. Even though your body might be doing this, see, like I've seen people talk about A-Rod, watching him. Well, his thought was that like that. Almost everybody's thought was like that in the 90s. But by the time he bent and got into his legs and was leaned,
It was
the
level.
hip hinge, and he went down, it gets level.
And then up.
And then up
Yeah.
at the end,
Right.
right? And so what he's saying he had to think was creating the same move that somebody like the Teacherman is teaching.
Yeah.
It's the same move, it's just a different way to get there.
Do you feel like the Teacherman might turn off somebody like me because as they're teaching it, I mean, he'll do back leg swings, like this, and he's talking about this thing. Is he sometimes, when I'm teaching a kid, I might over-exaggerate emotion in order to get them to understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Could that be kind of what he's doing, or does he truly believe in your first move should be like, like this thumb, like lay it back, just boom, like we want to be here. And I'm
Oh,
thinking
no, I truly believe, I've seen enough videos
of him.
that I truly believe, like, he believes everybody has to make that move. The quicker you make that move, the better hitter you're going to be.
It's so opposite.
Well, here, let me caveat that,
Yeah.
because I do think that does make sense if there are certain things that go along with that that I don't think are clarified in some of that drop it really quickly.
Right.
And I wish he would clarify. And maybe he does, and I just haven't seen those videos yet. So that's a disclaimer here. I
Sure.
haven't seen them all. I've just seen what I've seen. And one thing I do know is strong guys that already do well with their lower half and their top hand, particularly, if they have a strong top hand and they do well with their lower half moves, it works better for a player like that.
Because like me, I'm right-handed, but I'm a left-handed hitter. So I naturally had a weak back top hand.
Yep.
So doing that for me, I was not good at actually getting that bat with this arm.
Yeah.
I would tend to do this and foul balls back or high ball to left center field.
So in my opinion, part of the reason why it becomes a problem is because if you don't have a strong top hand, you're going to immediately with that move, because you're forcing gravity is pulling it down. If you don't have a strong top hand, it's going to drop below where you think it's dropping.
Yeah.
So you think you're just going here, but you're actually going here. You're actually, like, if you don't keep real strong top hand, in my opinion, that has to stop. That move has to stop near the top part of the zone, because you haven't read what that pitch is going to do yet. It could be that curveball that bends to the bottom of the zone, but it also could be that rider that stays at the very top, especially with the pitchers nowadays. So if you've got a pitcher that has a lot of rotation and it's got a lot of ride, then if your first move is here and that's your focus, there's a good chance you're going to miss a lot of those fastballs underneath.
Yeah.
Just because you're forcing the move that way instead of forcing to stay above the ball until the last second. When I think above the ball until the last second, I don't mean like literally above the ball, like with the barrel. I'm not talking about I'm going to be here, then I'm dropping underneath. It's the thought of I'm not going to drop it too much until I really read the pitch, and I know exactly where I think the pitch is going to get to in my space in the zone. Okay, while you're reading that, yes, you're getting into these positions, but while you're reading that, it takes a complicated ideas around lower half. What's your lower half? What's your core and your hip hinge doing? And then what are your upper half and hands doing?
What is hip hinge? Because that's a term you said. I hear Teacherman say it. I never was. I don't
Okay,
even know
so
what it
if
is.
it's the idea that if I'm standing and facing a pitcher, if I'm straight up and down, you're gonna want bent knees. Some people are standing straight up or whatever, but by the time the pitch is coming, This is like a straight up and down hip hinge. Like I could bend, like I'm not bending my knees, but I can bend my waist.
Yeah.
That's what I'm calling like a hip hinge, I guess.
Okay.
So there's an angle there, right?
Right.
Between my chest and the ground, or straight up and down. So there's 90 degrees I have to work with there. Like I could be there or I could be here.
Yep.
In a swing.
Now I know what you're talking about.
So the middle part of that is when I'm hinging and it's like I'm getting into my load and getting ready, this angle determines the height. Like I'm reading this hip hinge based on the height of the pitch.
Yeah.
So if it's a higher pitch, I got to stay up here. I can't bend more because if I bend more, I'm dropping the barrel. So if it's a higher pitch, I'm going to stay at the top and hit, and it's going to look more like
Yes. Now
I'm level. It's going to look more level if there's no bend in the hip hinge.
That makes sense because on the text message, I was talking about how I struggle with a high pitch, and you said, I bet that had less to do with the Teacherman stuff and more to do with your hip hinge.
Your hips.
You're right, because I got in a really bad habit, especially in college, of as soon as the ball was pitched, I wanted my eyes to be close to the ball. Yeah. And I would drop down here, and I was able to hit this pitch fantastic, like for home runs. I struggled with anything above this.
Yeah.
And I had to learn to stay stacked. Like, that was my thought.
Stacked.
Was
Yeah, I've
stay
heard that
stacked
before.
and let the hands go. Even if it's a low pitch, I want to hit it more like this instead of like that.
And I think the advanced hitting that's going on nowadays is more based on what players are able to do with their lower half and their hips than it is with their upper half and their hands. Because if they're setting their hands correctly, and they get into this, we all know that like there is a certain position that when you make contact with the ball is a stronger position. Mm-hmm. You know, like this should be bent slightly. Your front arm should be pretty straight. It may not be fully straight, but it should be pretty straight and locked. Mm-hmm. And if you make contact in that position with all of your force behind you, and then you finish, I mean, you're getting the majority that you can get out of your upper half in that moment. Mm-hmm. The question is, what did I create before that? So the first half of the swing is all about the lower half and what you're doing to gather the strength and the power that you do have in your body. So this move, and a lot of players do this, it's done in different ways now, and Teacherman talks about it like it's a hover, right? It's like you're kind of, there's also like that turning into your back hip. You're kind of like setting that back hip. Some people talk about turning that back pocket towards the pitcher. What you're really doing when you do that is you're loading it. Mm-hmm. It's your lower half load. It's like a spring, right? You're loading the spring, and then you're going to explode onto the ball, right? So if you do that correctly, there's a correct way to load and gather everything, and then there's when you actually bring it out, that's when you're reading the pitch, right? So he talks about ready on release, and that's a big thing with Teacherman that I do agree with.
Which is, what does that mean?
Are you loaded and ready by the time he lets go of the ball? Are you ready to, like with your foot up, to start striding towards a pitch or make a decision? Mm-hmm. Okay, so
and I feel like that's not a new idea though. I was always taught by the time he's here, you've got to be set
ready.
And ready. Now he may be teaching to still
not ready. Yeah, he would say ready on release, not with
set.
your foot down. No, not set.
He'd have a problem with Shohei Ohtani then, who goes like.
But he's not set though, because Shohei is using the toe as a way to control that release.
So it's almost as if his foot's in the air.
Yes, only his toe is on the ground, so that enables him to control it more. Guys it's up in the air like this, it's hard to control that. That takes a longer time to master the control of the lower half when you're off the ground. Mm-hmm. You know, whereas if you're on the ground but your toe is controlling some of that move, you have a little more control. You may have a little less power when you do that, because obviously you might be able to get more power if you get way up in here. Yeah. But it's really hard to time that. So it's a question of timing. It's a question of how much load can I hold? How long can I hold it? Yeah. Because if he ends up throwing an off-speed pitch and I'm holding it and I think it's fastball, well, I'm going to go a little bit, but I got to be able to hold it enough hold that power enough in the lower half that when I'm ready to release, I'm still in control.
I know you said you don't follow everything Teacherman says, and we can even get away from him. What's that style of hitting called? There's a name for it, like a school of thought. Matt Merton followed it. And actually, Merton's swing is a lot. I mean, it was naturally kind of that move. But when I see you do what you're doing in demonstration, even when you're up, which I know that Teacherman would like this, but it looks like you're getting to like a 50-50 balance.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's what he's teaching. I think he's saying like start this with even before.
Well, particularly like, he wants you to work on rotating like with that back leg and everything. It's less about.
It looks 80-20 when he does it.
Yeah, it looks less about what the front foot is doing. It's more about just rotational. And the answer to that, I would say I agree with that more than I agree with the old Charlie Lau theory of get off your back leg.
Yeah. My dad's just turned off this video.
Well, Charlie Lau, I mean, let's be honest. Go
Yeah.
back to the 90s. That's why we learned to swing down, and that's why it was like, get off the back side. Like, it was like more like a golf swing. You're going down.
There was more, when I watched, George Brett was his number 1 student.
And George Brett was the best hitter. I mean,
Unbelievable hitter. However, I think a lot of these guys don't do exactly what their teachers are saying. What I mean by this, I just had this talk with my dad about Brett.
Yeah.
And we watched one of it. He did his thing, and then it was kind of way on over his front foot.
Yeah.
However, at contact,
It was the same.
He was like right there at contact, but then he was really good at moving like through
the ball.
after. But when you see it in fast motion, it's like, well, he just hit off his front foot almost.
Yeah.
Not at contact. At contact, it was a transitional move about right there. Then he would do that, big thing.
All right, so out of respect for George Brett, one of the greats, I wanted to go back and make sure that I was, speaking correctly about what he's doing. So you can see here he loads onto the back leg. He does shift his weight forward, and then right when that foot plants, he stops. The head stays planted. Okay, let's watch in slow motion. So it's back. He does slide forward, but now that the foot has landed, his head really doesn't move forward anymore at all. And you'll notice the weight distribution is 50-50 through contact. Watch this. Stop, turn, then move, then kind of bounces forward. Some swings, it was more of a fluid motion, but it does stop right there. Watch the head. Stops. Forward.
Yeah, and part of my, like, they weren't facing some of the speed that the guys nowadays are facing. I wasn't even facing that. So, like,
Yeah.
for me to say, oh, the way that we hit is going to work for the guys nowadays, now it has to be a more rotational swing because you have to make decisions shorter and quicker. So obviously you don't have the time to create rotation and length out in the front. There's not time because these guys are throwing 100 miles an hour and then their off speeds are 90. Like, it's a very quick decision.
So if they're quicker and your move is quicker and you've got more because you're hitting in a barrel, it's more rotational,
Yep,
right?
Yep.
You don't, with that speed of the pitch, it's like, okay, what you've lost in your bat speed from more of a shift move,
Yeah.
you're gaining based on, as long as you just square it up with a 99 or 100 mile an hour fastball, it's going to go a lot further
It's
anyway.
going to go further. And also the control of the lower half is what enables you to cushion. Like, as you're turning and then you rotate, you cushion. You're cushioning with your lower half to slow the rotation. You still have used all your power. You're gathering it, and it's just, you're just cushioning this instead of locking it. And that cushion, combined with your ability with your hands to work out front, enables you to stay through an off-speed pitch. Instead of, they used to work through off-speed pitches by, oh, here's the fastball, here's the off-speed.
Yep.
Off-speed
Like,
was
I'm
just, I'm
kinda
going to catch
fooled,
it. Yeah,
but
I'm going to catch it out front because
So
I'm a little fool.
I like that. I've never heard that term, cushion, but I remember as a player, again, one of my faults was if I was fooled at all, this would lock way too fast. Everything's gone, and then it's like, oh, I might bloop a single maybe, or I might hit a home run if I catch it just right. But I remember as I got better and started doing what we're talking about, maybe not on this front, but in terms of slowing everything down, I'm gonna take my approach, even as a guy with some power, almost like a two-strike swing, almost all the time. And I felt everything slow up, like under control. And you're right, it's like this is holding back
Yeah.
and allowing the hands and everything that needs to happen here to happen because this is not gone.
Yeah. I was working with a young guy recently who was very quick and very good at going from A to B. I would say A to B in your swing. This is A is where you start and you're loading, and then B is boom, I'm finished with everything.
Yep.
Okay? if you don't have any stop all along the way from A to B or any controllability from A to B, you will not be a good hitter anymore as you go up the ranks.
Well, the pitchers will figure you out,
Because
right?
pitchers, yeah, they're going to change up their speeds. They're going to change up that enough that if you don't have control of your lower half to be slightly off time and still make good, strong, rotational, powerful contact, they know they've got you.
Yeah.
They know at least like they're just gonna give up singles when they can get you off time. The power comes when you're on time, or you can create the sense of being on time even though you're not perfect.
Yeah.
And that controllability comes from the lower half, in my opinion.
Okay,
So
yeah.
if I was talking to a young, let's say there's a lot. I get asked by friends about young players and what you're teaching. What would you teach to somebody young? Because obviously an advanced hitter are the ones that are really working on all these moves. If you're a young player, the simple moves that you have to work on are the controllability of your lower half first and foremost. I think if you're able to like do the load, kind of be strong in your legs and you turn into that back knee a little bit and then you come in and you lock, even if you don't even hold a bat in your hand and you're just working on that move. It's like, okay, can you bend your hips a little bit? Pretend like you got a bat in your hand. You turn your hips back into this. You don't even have to pick it up. You turn your hip back into this and then boom, explode. Okay? And if you do that, boom, boom, boom. That move over and over again, boom, you work that. And if you're a young hitter that learns how to do that, that is the first step in order to start like getting that first move, because that's like the timing's perfect.
It's fundamental. Everything's
It's fundamental.
ground up, yeah.
Yeah, I've got to get that little hip turn, a little bit of hip turn, and sometimes it's just showing the heel, showing the butt, the pocket or whatever. It might be this, and then boom.
Yeah.
But when you turn off of it, I see some kids that like their back foot doesn't even turn.
Yeah.
They turn and they go like this. They're so flexible
It's all upper body too.
that it's like this, and this doesn't actually turn to B.
Yeah.
The guy I was working with is so good at going from A to B, he was like in and out. So it's like that move, if you just do wiffle balls
Yeah.
with that move and somebody's going boom, 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 and then you mix it up a little bit and it's like boom, boom, right? So it's like a little, your turn, oh, read it, now go.
Yep.
Oh, read it, now go.
What you're saying is not exactly the right way to be approaching this.
You can't go A to B, straight A to B. You got to go A to B. Or you go A until you see it's a fastball, now B. It's like that move is a simple move. Without a bat, I'm boom, boom. And that move, if you work on that, that's going to give you a lot of controllability to where this stuff, in my opinion, the hip hinge and the upper body stuff, that whole thing is later.
Okay.
You got to get that leg thing first.
Let's do this. I like two things. Obviously, you do what you want to, but one is walk us through, like, because you knew about these concepts probably by 2018, 2019, right? Or no?
I mean, not the Teacherman stuff.
Well, not necessarily that.
Not the upper body stuff, but the lower body stuff, yes.
Okay. What were you doing in 2018, 2019 when you knew the most as a player to get you ready for a game? I'm sure you hit off the tee some, right? To kind of get your body going?
Yeah, some. A lot of it, more was flips before
Okay.
a game. Unless I wanted to do something by myself.
Yeah.
But since we had hitting coaches available to us at all time, it was our hitting coaches doing flips. Angle flips was one thing we did, mixing up the flips. And then it was, batting practice, mixed up batting practice. It was, for me, controlling that lower half was learning as I got older how to gather as much as I could gather, but still make an adjustment to a heater, the fastest heater, as well as their off speed. Like, am I giving myself a chance on the off speed to still drive the ball? And I just didn't have enough time in the end of my career. By the time I understood this concept, my lower half was pretty well set the way that it was.
Yeah.
I had done it for 20 years, right? Whereas when you're teaching a kid, none of this is set. Like, they're learning these things for the first time. So if they can learn how to control that stuff, you can do some drills around controlling the lower half, then you actually have a chance to build this stuff on top of it. That's why I say that's first.
Yeah.
Because if you do that stuff well, then you work up from there. Then it's like hip hinge. Now if it's that, then that controls the front and back timing. right? Because that's one thing you got to do is control the front and back. And is my timing right? Because that's more important than anything as a hitter. If you can get your body to do the right thing, to feel like you're on time, or you're very close to being on time, and then as soon as you see you're not, you can adjust. That's going to help with this. Now, what helps with this is the hip hinge. That thing. So then you're working on a drill that basically you're starting in a place where you're close to the top of the zone, and then you work from the top to the bottom. So it's like if this is the top of my zone and I know I can hit a pitch at the very top, then I'm starting there, and everything from there is hip hinge to lower if I need to.
So you would drop down.
Only, but I would start at the top. So if I was doing Teacherman stuff, I'd say, we're going to work on that drill. You're going to do this, but you're not going to let this barrel go below the top of the zone.
Okay.
That has to be at the top of the zone always when you drop it. So if you're going to go boom, it's only at the top.
You still got your barrel like kind of even with your hands?
It's even, and it's not going there. If you let it go there at all, then I think you're done.
I think that's where you just parted from Teacherman.
Exactly.
Because you've seen his paddle drill. He teaches
and he goes all the way down.
to hit with that. Like
I wouldn't do that because what that's doing is you're preparing to drop below a fastball at the top of the zone.
And I would think even if you make if you're this far like this, because he talks about almost being able to see the pitcher under this elbow.
Yeah.
If you're this far down, even if I make solid contact, I actually don't have a lot of force, even if my legs are in the right place.
That's right.
So
Yeah, and you can, as long as your hip hinge is, if you're there and you're connected to your body.
Yeah, it's still connected.
Look, I'm connected, and I'm still, like, if I lean up, look what happens. I'm at the top of the zone.
You just hit or higher, yeah.
Right? So it's like that hip hinge is a really important part of the height of the pitch. So remember, the lower half, in my opinion, is the front to back. That's where you're going to time everything and you're going to gather all your power for catching things on time. But if you want to hit the height of the pitch, if you're struggling with like, well, I'm chasing up here or I'm chasing down there, or I'm swinging, I'm on time, but I'm just underneath, I'm following everything back. To me, that's a work on this.
Yeah.
You got to work on this piece. The last piece, in my opinion, is now, what are my hands doing to finish? Because he talks about this, or going down real fast, but what about after that? It's just, you just let it go? Like at some level, part of the finish, and this is what Judge was already really good at before he worked with him, I think, is when you look at his swing was before that. Then once he worked with him, it like tightened it up. So he stayed through the zone really well.
Yeah, before?
Even before, I think.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong about that, but I think before he was already staying through the zone because he was probably taught different things when he was younger. And a lot of guys are really good at that, especially right-handed hitters who face right-handed pitchers all the time. Why do they have to stay through the zone really well? Because they're facing sliders that go away from them.
Yeah.
So if the pitch, if they are seeing a bunch of righties as a kid, and the pitches are all
even fastballs are coming across this way to them.
Yeah.
So
it's like, okay, the better thing is to stay through the ball. Well, I was a switch hitter, so I started kind of cutting off. I was like cutting my swing off. You probably faced more righties than lefties, so it was a little easier turning from a left-handed batter's box. It's easier for you to pull off the ball because you're already headed in that direction. So lefties that are able to kind of go boom and stay through the zone to the other side of the field, they usually hit for a really high average.
Yeah, well, that's where
because they're really good at like staying inside.
Yeah,
they've really focused on that.
Yeah, I was naturally a pull hitter. I was naturally a guy that if I had a flaw, it was going to be to open up and come off too quick or to drop.
Yep.
So you probably, when you walked out of your office earlier, you saw me hit one ball, and it was right at that back corner.
Yeah.
That was my pregame. Was like, I'd hit flips, but off the tee, it was like I'm going to swing kind of what feels like in slow motion, which you'd call maybe the cushion.
Yeah.
And just softly try to hit line drives that way to calm everything down so that when I'm in the game, I'm not 110%, I'm 95.
Yeah.
Right? And I'd swing just about like just trying to stay through it.
Yeah, one of the things as I was working with this guy that's a really good young player, I told him is if you watch professionals, because he's a fast A to B guy, he's going real fast. I'm saying if you watch professionals, over time, they know how to take batting practice at 60 to 80%.
Yep.
They know how to do that. The reason is because they've learned how to get ready and time everything and not go to 100. You can get ready. You can time everything at 100 and then let go at 70.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh, I'm getting ready, 70, or whatever it is, because you've learned to control the release of everything going from A to B.
Yeah.
And so, in my opinion, it's these, if you learn how to do flips, like you learn how to time this first. I wouldn't even worry about if they're swinging at pitches over their head or think about the timing more than you're thinking about
Okay, that's good
the
thought.
up and the down.
Yeah.
Work on that. So are they timing everything? So even if they swing at a pitch over their head, but they're like almost
Was it
hitting
here?
Yeah, they're almost hitting it because they're timing it right.
Yeah.
Or, oh, they like golfed one. Well, the reason why they golfed it is because they timed it really well and they were able to. There's certain things about certain people's swings that work easier.
Yeah.
I learned to hit above the ball because I was a small little kid, never hit for power. So I was like, hit it on the ground. So for me, it was easier to hit high pitches than low pitches hard. Because high pitch is right there and boom, I'm just smacking it back at the pitcher. I was already on the plane. But if you ask me to hit an off-speed pitch solid or you hit a low pitch, low fastball solid, I was chopping at it. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't learn the hip hinge. Nobody taught me how to, yes, you can swing down, but can you swing down from here? If you have that thought of swinging down like in the 90s.
It gets odd if you're down here.
That's why a guy like George Brett could, or I don't know if he was thinking about that, but that's why some hitters in the 90s could swing down and they were like driving a pitch on the bottom of the zone with that mindset, because by the time they actually made contact, they were coming up through the ball and, they had that hip hinge that gave that power into that part of the ball.
Yeah. And a low pitch, you've got more time to get everything about the way I shouldn't say that. It takes longer to do that move than what we're talking about, swinging in the barrel.
Right, right.
So I can see why it's changed a little bit. So you want to hit some?
Sure. You're working off the tee and you're working on, obviously timing and height. Okay, that's like an ideal pitch to hit because it's about at my waist. It's about at my belt by the time I bend my knees, right? And like I can hinge and be in a good position by the time I make contact and drive the ball to the central part of the field.
And just so I'm clear,
Right.
when you say I can hinge, you're talking about that little bend at the waist.
Yes.
Not overdoing it, but
Right. So I'm bent a little bit right now, but I might start here. Like a lot of people, it's like I want to start stacked and comfortable. By the time he gets ready, I do that.
Yeah.
You'll see a lot of hitters that are starting way up here, and then by the time they start their load, they bend into that hinge.
Yeah.
Right. So you'll see their butt kind of kick out. They get into that more of that position. So if I was working on lower half and not worried about this, bottom line is, where do I want to start that hinge? I want to start it at the top. So if I know this is my very top, let's say that's the top of the zone for me. It's pretty up there. But if I know I can go from this hinge to that and still make good solid contact, then that's okay. But if I'm lower than that,
you can't.
and I feel like I'm fighting to get up to the ball,
Yep.
then that's not, I'm bent too much.
Gotcha. Yeah.
If I'm up here and I try to work on a lower half one, if I'm up here and I stay up there and I go, and I have to drop like that swing, I'm not in a strong position.
Yeah.
I'm in a much stronger position if I start at my normal hip hinge and then go, boom. Now I just bent a little bit more and got down to that
And
one.
you're okay with the shoulders angled that far?
Yeah, if it's a low pitch.
Yeah.
So the goal is, if I can basically go, okay, I don't know what he's throwing right now. He's getting ready. I'm hinging, and I recognize the pitch, and I could literally start, and look, my barrel hasn't dropped too low yet. I did the drop, boom. But now I see it's an off-speed pitch. I started at the top, and if it ends up at the top, then I can literally go, wham! That's top of the zone. If it ends at the bottom and I go, boom, now it's at the bottom, I drop, and I'm in the same position.
That is such a different way to think about making
That's
this
one
adjustment.
position, and that's a position.
Yeah. Okay.
So in my opinion, it's like, do you have control of what's happening here to there? Here to there. Either way, it's more of like what's going on here than it is like this whole just that move. because that move is only part of the start of your
A
swing.
bigger, yeah. And I think you and I were really agreeing on this. And when you explain it, I think I agree with almost everything, if not all of it, is that this is fine. To do that is fine. But
I got no problem with that.
to get to this point, I can't actually come back up now and hit anything above.
Then you're fighting below the ball.
Right.
You're fighting to get back up to the ball. So if I'm swinging, quote, up to hit a fly ball, you might have to think about that. But if you think about that with your lower hand, what happens? If you don't have a strong top hand, you do that.
Yeah.
You literally like go, whoom. You're underneath everything.
Yeah.
If you think about with your top hand, it's harder to drop.
Yeah.
You know, it's because my wrist doesn't even go that. It's difficult to get it down there.
Right.
You know, so that's why I say a strong top hand enables you to, you know.
So I know you already said you start with the foundation of, the timing, the hand, like you want to start with the kid's timing here and the ability to move his legs properly.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. We said we were going to talk some to younger kids about the non-negotiables. So that would be one of them is.
Yeah, if I was a parent,
Yeah.
just starting out, I'd be like, okay, what does the move look like? You know, I used to do this when I did lessons is I'd go, okay, what's point A? This is your point A. And then I'd check. Do you have a good hip hinge? Is it a good location? If they like to be here, I'd like, okay, I'm okay with you starting there, except you know that by the time the pitch, you're getting ready for the pitch, you're going to have to get down here, right? Mm-hmm. You know, so they're like, okay, yeah, if that's where they're comfortable, that's fine. They can start there. They can have the barrel however they want it to be. But by the time you're getting ready with that move, you have to bend a little bit and know that with your bend, you're not going too low.
Yeah.
I'm bending to a comfortable position, but now it just enables me to get this move of bringing that knee, almost knee to knee a little bit.
Yeah.
Like this knee comes to that one, the heel comes up, the pocket shows a little bit. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm basically gathering my power into this back leg. But notice I'm not straight up and down. This is one of the things that I would disagree with on practicing. Like I wouldn't want to be straight up and down and then just spinning like that. That's what I think Teacherman teaches. It's like,
Yeah, if I do that, I can hit a low inside pitch well, but anything up and away that's a strike, I've got nothing left, right?
here's where I think that benefits.
Okay.
If you already naturally come off your back leg,
Okay.
then it could help.
So working off of that problem.
If that's a problem you have is like, I naturally turn a lot and I come forward.
Yeah.
If you naturally do that and you're trying to avoid that, yes, do this drill. Boom.
Yeah.
You know, because then it's going to help you not feel you have to do that to swing.
Yep.
Right? But if your problem is I'm dropping underneath the ball and I just spin into the bottom of it, which some kids do.
I did. That was mine.
If that's your problem, then of course it's going to be more important that you figure out how to do not bottom of the zone,
Top.
top of the zone.
Yeah.
And now I'm going, and I want to make sure I stay through that thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I think the big deal here is you and I probably, when we fell into our swing flaws, they might have been the opposite thing.
Yeah.
Because I was the kid where maybe on tee you'd say, well, you look good, or front flip, you look good. Then you'd see me in a game, and you would see me go like this. I would overload and then collapse down here. I was so low, I couldn't get off my back foot.
Yep.
This foot would spin
Yep.
when I was going bad. And you might see me like this at contact. So
Yeah.
you're not going to teach this kid, okay, hinge down. Like I'm already doing that.
You already do it.
So what would you say to that kid who's got power, but they're spinning out and they're already back here at impact?
Yeah, well, are you hitting fastballs well or off-speed pitches well?
I'm popping everything up and I'm flailing on the off speed.
Okay, so you're underneath the fastballs, but you might be on time. Then I
Yes.
would say you got to stack more. You got to stay. You got your angle of your hips is too low to start, or it's too low by the time you get to a certain point. So, like, it would be like if I'm going to swing, yes, I'm going to do more high tee, so then I have to start and stay there. But then I'm also going to make sure that when I finish and I stand up a little bit out of my finish.
Yes.
Because you naturally said you're like staying down here because you want your head, and that's good. That's good, but you can still hit this and then come out of it. Right? You can hit a ball down and then come out of it.
Yep.
I would just force that finish where you come out. It's like a lot of golf can be fixed in a lot of the finish, right? Because you're
Yeah.
finishing well. If you finish that a little differently, it starts to correct what happens in the middle before the finish.
And the high tee was something I never did until late in college. And we're talking, out of the zone high tee, like maybe even right here.
Yeah.
That automatically for me would force me to correct the problem.
Yep.
Because I knew, like, the moment I do this, it's like your brain I can't hit that.
Yeah.
So learning to get there.
Right. And I think a lot of us that grew up in that era, we thought the place to hit the ball was from the front knee and forward only.
Yeah.
Now what we're seeing is you give yourself time if you start that back here.
Yeah.
Like some guys start it way back, but like even if you're just starting it there.
Yeah.
I'm in the zone. I'm at my belly button more in the zone. Mm-hmm. Instead of, it used to be like we had to be here and then eventually we were in the zone.
Yep.
Way out front.
For me, and tell me if you identify with this, like I got into, first of all, I was taught hit the ball out front. Okay,
Yeah.
so I would automatically set the tee up out front.
Uh-huh.
Almost every kid, if you're like, okay, buddy, stand where you stand in a game. Well, they'll get pretty close to the plate and be right here, okay? Then I set a tee up, and I'm like, okay, we're going to hit this ball hard. What's the first thing they do? They want to give themselves all this room and get it way out there, and I realized, I was so greedy as a player wanting to hit the long ball and wanting to hit it harder.
Yeah.
I would work off the tee in high school, not knowing any better, thinking, well, I actually hit the ball further off the tee when I'm fully, like right here. And sure, you will.
Yeah.
So for me, the challenge with my son and with the Little League players is I want them working on the balls pretty close to them, almost off their belly button, like we're talking about.
Yeah.
The mental challenge for them is they're like, well, I can't hit it hard right there. Mm-hmm. Well,
They're not
it's
getting
not a
extension.
99 mile an hour fastball either yet.
Yeah.
So, just doing this, I'm going to hit came around it a little bit, but just being smooth through the ball that close. In a game, doing that same thing on that pitch, if it's 95, it's going to go a long way.
Yeah. I think this brings up one of the things, when you talk about the ball close to you versus away from you, we're all more comfortable by being back away from the ball, and then we decide how close we want to be to the ball by the time we hit it.
It's a softball swing, though.
Yeah, but that's a softball. It's like, okay, I'm waiting, and now I'm going to jump forward and hit it when I want to.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's not how baseball works a lot of times. You don't have the time to decide exactly where you're at. So in order to get really comfortable, where they all feel like you're hitting them out front, we were taught, I don't know if you were taught this, we were taught knob to the baseball.
Yeah, third eye.
Knob. And you hear people arguing about that, I'm not going to name names, but there's some people just saying that grew up in the same era that are going, or were right before us, that are saying, no, it's knob, because knob enables you to stay through the baseball.
On plane
for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And here's where I'm going to say, look, that school of thought, I think it makes a lot of sense when you already have other right moves in place. Mm-hmm. Okay, but if you're like pulling your shoulder out, if you're doing other things that like you're rushing your swing because you're not getting there in time, then it's going to be much easier for you to just kind of try to get the barrel to something. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you're on time, it feels like everything. If you hit the ball back here, you hit the ball there, you hit there, you hit there, all of those locations in the hitting zone, they all feel like they're in a strong zone. And the reason why people talk about that is because you can get that feel a lot easier if you're thinking this way as opposed to thinking that way. Mm-hmm. Because if I think about getting the barrel there, well, now, like, is that a strong position?
Not at all, yeah.
Boom. It doesn't feel, but now, can I hit it? Yeah, I can hit it, but am I going to hit it with any, I don't know. Am I going to hit it for any power? But if I feel like, can you grab a ball and throw it on there? Yeah. If I feel like I'm this close to the ball and I'm shooting my hands to the inside of the baseball, it's going to feel, and I don't want to hit the camera, but it's going to end up going harder, but it's going to go to right field because, boom, I'm getting those hands to where they feel like it's further out in front. Mm-hmm. And the barrel just follows, boom, boom. And I might catch, I thought I was going to hit that ball to right center, and it went to right field, and it was just hit really well to right field.
Sure, yeah.
Right? Or I thought I was going to hit it to right, and then it ended up being a changeup, and now I have the length because I haven't given up my barrel here.
You may turn on it.
And now I have the chance to, boom, catch it out front
Yep.
and pull it to the pull side because I lengthened out the front part of my swing. That's that knob thing. Like nowadays I see so many guys that are like so hung up on, I'm going to catch it perfect, that they forget that like you don't have to catch it perfect if you slide to the inside of the ball. So that's why I'm like, I do agree with the whole, boom, get there. But I also don't agree with once you get there, you just let it go.
Sure.
I think you got to get there, and then you got to you got to be able to lengthen through the zone once you get there. So if you're like getting there and you're getting down below and you're just you're in and out so fast that you're not going to be able to hit an off-speed pitch.
Yeah. Well, I think Teacherman takes videos of Aaron Judge doing on the perfect pitch for him to do that thing where he cuts it off.
Yeah, sure.
Well, sure, he can hit a home run doing that when it's a pitch that's middle in, up in the zone. So go to this ball right here. Right, now you don't have to extend anymore after that. You
I can hit it and boom.
And it looks awesome, right?
Yeah.
So you take that one video and you say, this is how it's done. This is how, no, it's Aaron Judge. He hit 70 home runs.
You can't argue with it because that is.
You can't argue with it it's hard for a kid to argue with it at all. But if you put a ball here, you can't exactly make that same.
Or if it's a changeup, show the changeup that he was looking. See, that's the thing. We don't get a window into what the player was thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
Line drive, base hit, right center field. It's going to split the outfielders and go to the ivy.
Judge goes to second with a double.
They used to say about Lou Gehrig, they hit line drives by outfielders like most players hit them by infielders. And this is one of those line drives. Watch the center fielder, John Jay, immediately he is chasing this one down.
If you were thinking, okay, I'm sitting fastball, but I got to be ready because there's 2 strikes and a man on second base or a man at third with less than 2 outs and I got to make contact.
Yeah.
You don't get that information before the swing. All you get is the swing. But if that guy is looking for a heater, middle in, early in that count that he's going to swing through, well, sure, it's okay then for him to, boom, just rotate and swing and miss. Because there's nothing hurt by swinging and missing. It's less than 2 strikes. He doesn't have to get that man in from third base yet. But now, if I got 2 strikes and I got to make sure I make contact, and that pitcher's got 98 up and in, and then he's also got a changeup at 87.
Yep.
Well, then now I got to have a different approach because I got to be able to hit fastball up and in and a changeup down and away, just to make contact to get that run in from third base.
Not easy.
So what you have now is you have all these kids that are trying to hit like power hitters that are not power hitters. And then you're not getting the run in from third base with less than 2 outs.
Yeah.
Because you don't have an approach and a swing that allows you to make an adjustment on a fastball up and in as well as an off-speed down and away.
Yeah.
That's the difficult time we have now with hitting and teaching hitting because everybody's learning how to hit for power.
Yeah.
But you might not even be strong enough to hit for power.
Yeah.
So are you learning how to stay inside a ball, through a ball? Mm-hmm. Are you learning how to actually like have a quality at bat when your team really needs it? Mm-hmm. Versus just, oh yeah, he gave me the pitch I was looking for and I hit a bomb. Well, it was a solo shot and you lost 5-1.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like that. I think that's what I'm seeing is as a hitter. If I was training a young hitter, I'd be like, look, before we know how big you are and what you're capable of, you learn how to be a good hitter first.
Yeah.
Learn how to be. Yes, you can learn how to drive the ball, but when do you learn how to just take a good quality swing that enables you to hit a fastball, time things?
Yeah.
Where I'm hitting that fastball at the top, and I can also hit the off speed at the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you learn to do both of those, fastball at the top, off speed at the bottom, with those 2 first parts of the lower half, controlling that timing, and then controlling the hinge, boom, to there. If you learn to do that, you're going to be real good by the time you start facing guys that are, going
and as your power develops, if you do turn out to be a big-time power hitter, you can adjust and make changes to your game as needed, right? I mean,
absolutely. I mean, that's the thing is, as you get older, these guys get into pro ball. Even pro ball players, they get to the major league level, and they got to figure out what kind of hitter am I at this level. Mm-hmm. Every time you move up a level,
it may be different.
It might be different because you don't know what you're about to face, and you might have been able to like crush it against those guys that were thrown at that length, And that's this speed, but now you got guys that are like, okay, you can hit a 90 mile an hour cutter, but can you hit a 96 mile an hour four seam that's riding? Because if you go to the SEC, if you're a high school kid and you think you want to play SEC, you better be able to hit that rider. They're gonna come at you with speed. You're gonna face a lot of that.
Yeah.
You get to the big leagues, it's not like the best. It's not the. I used to say this: the best pitchers I faced in the minor leagues are like 3, 4, 5 starters in the big leagues, and you're barely ever seeing the relievers that you see in the big leagues in the minor leagues, because those guys, they have their stuff dialed in. They're nasty. There's a reason why they have those 2 pitches that they can get you out with, or they spot up. They're really good.
Yeah.
And so you're only facing starters a couple times a game maybe, and then you get into a bullpen where you're seeing guys you just don't normally see. So you got to like really think strategically about what am I capable of against this particular guy on the mound. There were plenty of times where I had to give up and say, I'm not giving up my at bat, I'm giving up power. I'm saying, okay, against this guy, there's no reason for me to be trying to swing hard. Like I need to stay on his fastball, but think I'm going to get above it and hit a line drive the other direction because he's got that other wrinkle in his other pitch that's going to throw me off if I don't stay down and above the ball. He'll get me with that. So I've got to be able to hit what he throws. I have to have this kind of approach where I'm not going to try to get under the ball. I'm not going to try to pull the ball in the air because everybody that does that misses the ball. And then they swing at his off-speed pitches, right? So, like, if you're paying attention to what other guys do against him, you can make an educated guess on the approach that you take into that particular pitcher.
Yeah. Well, I did, I saw Schwarber do, we were talking about a guy like Judge who's going to give up the versatility to keep the power.
Yeah.
But they still will. I mean, I saw Schwarber the other day, 2 strikes, inside, belt-high pitch. I could tell he was kind of thinking more up the middle. He got jammed, which was good because it showed he was thinking right, and hit a soft line drive for a hit. And then he got fooled on a changeup but stayed through it and hit it the other way. So it's very few guys, unless their teams told them to or they're Aaron Judge, are absolutely giving up the actual good baseball approach just for power.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, and Schwarb, I played with him. He's a very smart hitter. He's a lot smarter than you would probably guess based on the amount of home runs. Because a lot of home runs hitter, it looks like, they're swinging and missing a lot, right? Or they're obviously this year he's done better than he has in past years, but
he's locked in.
All right, so I had to play this because it just so happened that the day that Ben and I recorded this hitting discussion, Kyle Schwarber happened to break like an 0 for 15 slump with a 4 home run night. So Ben's obviously right. Guy's a smart hitter. Look how flat through the zone. You can go back and rewind and watch these again. Almost all of these, except for maybe the last one on a low pitch, his swing is extremely flat through the hitting zone, the whole short to it, long through it, even that one. Let the ball travel a little bit, maybe got a little bit fooled out front, but kept that plane through the hitting zone for a long time. Last one low and in, drop down. Nice hip hinge, as Ben Zobrist would call it. But great night for Kyle Schwarber, and also a testament to how quickly things can change in baseball. You got to stay positive and stick with what works for you.
He's a good hitter, just in general. If he chose to hit for a higher average, he could. He would just have to give up some of his power. And so what you're probably seeing is in those moments, that's him saying, I got to have a team at bat right here. Or I'm looking for this pitch to drive, and I know this at least gives me a chance to take that pitch and do something with it.
Yeah.
Right? And he's making an educated guess on the approach that he wants to have against any given. I know that because I watched him do it as a young player. And so he's a very smart player and guesses correct a lot, which obviously he's hitting a lot of home runs. But over time, you can just think about one thing, and if your body is trained enough, it will adapt to what you see. Right?
Yeah.
And the only question is, can it adapt enough to make it feel like you're still on time?
Yeah.
And you're still able to hit the height of the pitch.
Yeah.
So a really, really trained hitter, like Judge has trained his body really well, and he's strong enough. If I hit like Aaron Judge, I'm going to tell you, I would have flown out a lot more than I did. I probably would have hit for a lower average. I would have hit a few more home runs, and I would have had a lot of flyouts.
Yeah. Which would have made you less valuable.
I wouldn't have been on base as much.
Yeah.
For the teammates, but the part of my game was I needed to be on base. So I needed to get base hits, doubles, occasional home run, but I need to be on base for the guys that were going to do that. And so you have to have table setters, and you have to have guys that clear the table. And I was more of a table setter. And if you start to know yourself and go, hey, I'm a hitter that can make good contact, well, then you pick your spots to drive, to drop and drive.
Yeah.
And other than that, you're like, I'm going to make contact. I'm going to hit a hard line drive. I'm going to do some things that maybe some of the power hitters don't do as much of, and you find your value a different way.
Yeah, that's good, man. And you got to have the humility to be honest with yourself about what kind of hitter you are.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and sometimes you got to take chances, and you might be wrong. You might be wrong sometimes when you take a chance, and you're going to swing and miss a lot. And part of the game that's what I loved about it, is the challenge of you're playing a mental game and trying to strategize what you need to do. And then if you take a quality, clear approach up there, and you're able to say at the end of the at-bat, okay, I was clear, I was focused, I looked for what I was looking for, and he got me. Like, you got to be able to tip your cap. If the guy threw a good pitch and you're just not at that level yet to be able to hit that pitch, you got to recognize when somebody does something well. I mean, the pitcher's got the ball,
sure,
right? And so there's a lot of really good pitching out there. So at the same time, if you can get better, it's working on the control of how well you can adjust to various things. So sometimes it's like, oh, okay, I've never trained that particular pitch. I've never trained, I was looking for something else. And if you're looking for something else and they just fool you, that's where you got to say, hey, my approach or my plan was not didn't match up with what he was trying to do.
Yeah. And that's a whole nother part, is the mental side, being able to deal with that.
Oh yeah, when you walk away, there's a whole host of other things we can talk about. And maybe we should for a second, because I think there's a lot of parents and coaches, and I'm wearing some Champion Forward gear, but part of what we try to do is help people deal with the mental and emotional skills that are needed to deal with failure. Not just success, but also failure. And that's one of the toughest things about hitting. Let me ask you this. How do you feel like you did dealing with failure while you played? And do you feel like there was something you did well or something that you didn't do well with that?
Well, I think people that are really passionate about the game and they want to be great at it, they might have a tougher time dealing with failure because they take it really hard. And for me, I cared so much. I mean, as a Christian, I would say I put it above God for a long time in my life, and I wouldn't have admitted that out loud, but the truth is that's just what it was. And when it becomes that important, every strikeout feels like I'm a failure at my life, So it took me until I was actually pretty decent when I played out for the love of the game as a kid, middle school, high school, decent at managing emotions.
Yeah.
Once there was money on the line, scholarships on the line, I want to make it to the big leagues and I think I'm good enough. Then it became, I took the failures far too hard, and I made it too big of a deal when I had success, instead of that even keel that you see longtime big leaguers have, where they can enjoy it, they can enjoy their successes, but it's all like it's under control within reason. So pro ball, I had to learn to scale back not only my swing and wanting this huge, and I had to forget about home runs and just think about, I want to make solid contact and let the hits fall where they may.
Yeah.
And then really more of a relaxed approach to the game. I talked about earlier, I said, I tried to almost take my because my problem was geeking up too much. I had to almost tell myself first pitch of the game, I may take one, or I'm gonna almost pretend 2 strikes and try to hit it back off the pitcher's forehead, which was foreign to me in college because I wanted to hit it 450 feet, right? But once I learned to play that game more with a soft approach, my emotions calmed down, and I became a much better player. So I don't know if that totally answered your question.
Yeah, it did. I think, it sounds like when things ratcheted up, it was harder for you to control what was going on inside.
Yes.
So as the lights got brighter, the situations got bigger, there was money on the line, there was more things on the line, it felt weightier to you. Did you feel like there was anything that you did that really helped, or were you like, do you look at it as like, man, I wish I
Yeah.
would have done something
There was a
different?
huge turning point for me that I had to remind myself of a lot. It was my draft year at Georgia Tech. I was at the height of just being a mental head case. And I think like it was a blessing this happened. I blew out my shoulder and my back. I had to have 2 operations in an off season. I missed my entire junior year. I played like 5 games and then pulled out redshirt junior. And I was in so much pain for 8 months. I thought it's over.
Yeah.
And really at that point I had to give up on those dreams. And like when I did pray, I prayed, Lord, if you'll just let me get back on that grass again, just get to play again, I'll just enjoy it this time,
Yeah.
And that's a lesson you got to retell yourself, but it's like, this is a blessing just to be out here, and I've got to stop taking all of it so seriously. And then I told myself one big truth: has me worrying about whether I'm going to get a hit or not, or has me worrying about whether I'm going to make it to single A, double A, triple A, the big league, has that helped me play baseball better? No,
Yeah.
because it's something I can't control out
Yeah.
there. So I had to just get very realistic about like, this is one part of my life. I'm pretty good at it. And I just need to enjoy it. I work hard, but I just need to enjoy it because, it could all be gone tomorrow.
Right. And it does go away quickly. Like nobody plays forever.
Yeah, it's over now.
Yeah. And I think finding that silver lining when things are not going well, you can't see it I think a lot of young people, particularly that get injured or something doesn't go right according to plan, it's easy to start to go, well, everything's against me.
Yep.
This doesn't feel right. This isn't good for me. It all feels like something negative. But the reframe is you actually have to learn certain things during those periods of time for you to grow as a ball player.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you get back on the field, you appreciate it more.
Yep.
You learn to value certain things about your career or what you've been able to accomplish.
Yeah.
You also pay attention to your body in ways that you've been injured before, so
Yeah.
you can protect yourself, right? Instead of just going hog wild with everything, and you just learn how to manage what's going on and pay more attention to what's
right.
going on,
Yeah.
right? And so I always try to help people reframe and say, hey, this is an opportunity. Just like stepping on the field is an opportunity. Just like when you hit a home run is an opportunity. Just like when you strike out with the game on the line is an opportunity. These are all opportunities. We think of them as good and bad. I think they're neutral. And the reason why I say they're neutral is they are all opportunities to grow in the way that ultimately you need to grow. Because ultimately, what you do on a field is not going to be what you want your identity to be. Because it will be over at some point.
Yeah.
So what you do on the field or what you don't do on the field can't be what determines whether or not you feel like you're growing. We're all going to have enough problems and challenges and suffering that we will feel like we're not growing if that's what it's based off. We have to know that it's based off something we can control, which is not the reaction that we might be having normally, but the response. How do we respond in a healthy way to these failures or the success, right? Because both of them present different challenges to us. And I know, like, one of my biggest challenges of my entire career was not just when I failed, but it was when I succeeded, when I went to the World Series and got World Series MVP with the Cubs and all that kind of stuff. It was crazy learning how to deal with everything that was coming at me after that. And I was more comfortable in the roles that I had played up to that point, but that role I was very uncomfortable with, and I didn't know what to do with it. So, whether it's success and you're on Mount Everest and you're trying to figure out how to breathe up there, or whether you're falling into the valley and feeling like this is almost over, ultimately those are two just different opportunities to learn things about yourself, to grow in a different way and say, hey, what can I learn from this situation right now? How can I be better? How can this lead me to the future that I do want? Because the future you want, I promise you this, the future that you want is not success. It's not success. Trust me, I've seen enough people that have success. It's not really what they want. They want a sense of peace, contentment, satisfaction, knowing I did everything I could have done to make the most of this.
Yeah.
Like, they want their people. They want to be connected to their people, connected to themselves, connected to God. Ultimately, it's more about connection and a sense of self-satisfaction than it is everything had to go well.
Yeah.
And guess what? It doesn't have to go well for you to still feel that way, right? So So ultimately, like all the work that you do on a tee, all the work you do out on the ball field that we did, it was valuable to us because it taught us things that now you use. I guarantee you use some of those things as a dad.
Yeah.
You use it at home. You use those things in your job and the things that you do. All that work ethic we learned, now we just learn to channel it in different ways and in different roles.
That's right.
You know?
No doubt about it. Is that what Champion Forward, because I know you've been on my show before and talked about it, but you might as well like say exactly what it's meant to do.
Yeah, Champion Forward, we are envisioning just a healthier sports experience for athletes, parents, and coaches. And the way we do that is through mental and emotional skill development. Got a couple of things. We have an ambassador program people can join. If they see the issues that are going on around sports or they're dealing with their own issues around it, whether it's failure, whether it's success, whether it's dealing with the NIL experience or all the things that travel sports are experiencing, we know that the challenges are getting greater and greater as time goes on because there's a lot more comparison through Game Changer and all these other ways that kids can see. Social media has thrown a huge challenge into what these kids are experiencing versus what we experienced. And so we wanted to provide something for not just the athletes themselves, but we know that those athletes need to be around parents and coaches that are acting emotionally intelligent themselves around how they're experiencing it with their kids, with their players. And so we know that if we train up those people to have some skills, they're going to impact all the people that they're leading. And you know, we want to see people experience this in a connected, aware, and balanced way.
Are you gearing it toward, and that's excellent, by the way, it's hugely needed, and you bring up a great point with social media, the comparison trap, and it's, you can see more baseball from more perspectives now than ever before, and peers and everything else. Are you gearing your operation, though, toward more middle school, high school, college, pro?
I would say we run the gamut. We've had the majority, people right in the middle are high school and middle school. And we've got certain travel programs that have picked it up that have some kids that are younger. And then we've now got some colleges and people that are in the college game of sports learning some of these concepts and starting to translate it to their context. So it's more about, we've chosen to work with people that believe that they want the tools. They're like the people that see the problem and say, I need some tools around this. And so whoever wants those delivered to them, we want to work with them and try to figure out how to help them put it into their context because they are the leaders in their world, right? And so oftentimes with new challenges, we need new tools. And that's ultimately what we've tried to develop.
That's good, man. Give me some advice. You know, my one son is 8, the other is 6.
Yeah.
Especially my 8-year-old because he's a little older. And he's got skills. You know, he's being asked to play travel ball all the time. Right now, we're just doing the rec leagues, and I'm coaching. You know, most of the time I'll coach him, but I'm taking off this and letting him hear another voice. But he's good. He could go play travel ball, you know, this next spring and be fine. I just get this sense like that it's. I mean, there was burnout when I was growing up, right?
Sure.
And I just had this thought in my head that a lot of the kids that are doing this, playing as many games as possible at a year, they may be the best kids in the state at 12 years old. But I just got this sneaking suspicion that the kids that are also in the background, maybe not doing all that, but they're learning the fundamentals. They've got somebody like you or me, like working with them, and they're still playing ball, just not as much.
Yeah.
There might be a later peak for them in terms of their growth, development, excitement for the game.
Yeah.
Those are my thoughts. What do you think about that kid from age 8 to 12 who they got a choice to make? Do I stay with rec ball? Do I go all in on travel?
I think it depends on the kid. But I think more often than not, the parents and the coaches need to pull back. Because when kids have a lot of passion for something like that, they're going to overdo it. It's just like candy. Don't we all love candy? But like if we just gorge ourselves with everything that we want in that moment, we're going to overdo it. And that's how children are, even with good things, with something that like an activity that they love to do. And they're going to overdo it. They don't know how to protect themselves from that. So it's up to the parents in the room to put the boundaries around how much they're going to let the kids play. But I think particularly if you're a parent that sees that your kid doesn't want to do it and you're the one driving like the passion, or trying to help them connect, like, hey, did you know that you got to practice a lot to like be really good at this? And they're like, no, I didn't really, I don't want to practice. I just want to play a game. You got to pull back. You got to say, no, we're not letting you unless you show a real desire to do this. If you're the one pushing it, don't push it anymore.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's let them decide that it's something they really want. So the engine and the fuel needs to come from them.
Yep.
The car and the wheels and the taking care of the maintenance of the shell of everything, you're the one deciding where
What's healthy.
where does this thing get steered.
Yeah.
But they have to be the fuel and the engine.
That's good.
If they're not, then you're ending up doing that.
Yeah.
It's gonna burn out because they're not the like they ultimately have to be the driver at
Yeah.
some point.
That's good. Great analogy. I would say too, like if the kid is already bringing the fuel, I loved your thought there of the parents steering the ship, they're the engine, they're the body, all that stuff to gear it where it needs to be. They don't need to also try to be the fuel. Because if you've got the kid already wants it, and all of a sudden dad and mom really want it too, and maybe his church wants it for him, and maybe their school wants it, all of a sudden that's how it got out of whack for me. Was I felt I wanted it enough. I would have worked hard, but everybody else wanted it for me too. And pretty soon I let the weight, make it far too important where I couldn't handle failure. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, yeah. And I think we realize that kids really care what their parents think. And so if you're showing that you want them to do something, the likelihood is that they are going to say yes beyond what they're really comfortable with.
Yeah.
So if you know that, you have to keep checking in and saying, hey, you ready to be done with this? You want to try something new? Because let me tell you something that's really valuable that people don't see. They oftentimes say, okay, well, this is your sport. Okay, well, this is your sport. You're going to focus on this and you're going to keep doing it all the way through high school, and let's see if you can eventually get a scholarship. Honestly, if they don't get a scholarship, you probably rob them of a time in their life that they should have been trying a lot of different things.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay? Because when kids are young, it is a time for them within the boundaries to try new things and challenges and in all different realms. Yeah. And sometimes when you get so locked into one sport, you become so one-track thought about what you like that when that thing gets taken away and you can't do it in the same way you used to, you're like, oh, I'm lost. I don't have anything I want to do. I'm not motivated.
Yeah.
Well, it's because you haven't tried all the new things that you should have been trying. So if you learn a couple other things in different realms that you know you like, your eggs are never all in one basket. And that's where I would disagree with some people that are like, yeah, all eggs in one basket. I'm like, that's not good for the human. That might be good for making you one thing. But if that one thing doesn't work out, and I'm not saying this is like plan B. This is like, no, plan A is be well-rounded.
Yeah.
And if it's the plan, in my opinion, if it's God's plan and you're well-rounded, those opportunities, if you're good enough, are going to start to present themselves.
Yeah, that's
because
good.
you're good enough. You know, you don't have to push the door down to be good enough.
Yeah.
Let the fuel of the kid drive that door. And then once it's open, it's like, okay, they love doing this, but they also love this and they love that. But this is their main thing they love.
Sure.
Great, but just put boundaries around it. Make sure that there's a month a year where they can't touch their glove and their bat. Make sure.
Yeah.
Like they have to do other things because they have to get their mind out of, I'm going to be this when I grow up. That might be the case, but they're going to be a better human someday if they make it there, but they're also well-rounded in these other ways.
Absolutely. That's a good word. Well, if we don't get any B-roll of you hitting off that machine, can you hit a little bit?
Oh yeah, I want to hit. I'll hit a little bit.
Let's do it, like not long, but I need to get some action because if it's just you and me talking for 70 minutes.
Yeah, I'll hit a couple.
Oh my. Look at you coming around the ball. That's that Teacherman. There you go. Really good. That ball's crushed. So you do have a nice top hand. I know some of those are a little up. And you're able to like almost swat that thing for a line drive.
Yeah, well, you know what's funny right now is I'm trying to swing up. Because of this home run derby thing, I'm like, if I was swinging for a game, it'd be different. Like, let me give you, here's a couple of game prep swings.
Okay.
See the difference?
Yeah, I like that one better, actually.
It's like, it's a little more level.
Yeah.
And then in the game, I would sit back. During BP, I'd go like this. See, during BP, I'd do like,
Yep.
come forward a little
Trying to
more. And
stay.
then in the game, I'd sit in that back leg. Go ahead. So it's still like I'm getting the feel during BP of staying down through it.
Yeah.
And then in the game, it changes, right?
I know. Yep.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Oh. It's like riding a bike, baby.
Dude, that feels so good.
So good.
So good. Just watching you make that move, man. I'm dialed in.
You're dialed.
Strike in the big leagues?
Maybe. I mean, they're
Top of the
calling them. Maybe it's at the very top. That's what they would call probably the top. Oh yeah.
We got another spot in that derby coming up?
Yeah. You're ready.
Let me do some away pitch.
You look close enough like me. I'll probably just take the jersey off and be like, go ahead. I'm tired.
I think they'd see the height difference.
Do you want me to go a little lower? I can lower it.
Yeah, just.
It's lowered a tad now.
All right. That one right there would be that example of me coming out a little soon, knowing it's away.
Yeah.
Bat drops, pop up.
Yeah, yeah.
It's on time, but it's I've leaked.
Yeah. Nice.
All right, one more. Land on that one.
Okay, let's go lefty a few.
All right.
Be a little more easy on these to start. Watch out.
What feels more natural, right or left?
It just depends on the day.
Okay.
Oh. See, with this home run derby, it's going to be a timing thing. It's going to be like, whoever, I don't know if it's a lefty or a righty BP thrower.
Yeah.
And I know this, I'm working with Arietta, and I think her name's Erica Piancastelli,
Okay.
softball player, and they had a lefty. Arietta loves the lefty guy. And he's done this twice already. I've never done it.
Okay.
So he might be like making the request, I want you again.
Okay.
And then I'm stuck, I'm like, I don't do lefty BP. I guess I'll hit righty with you guys.
Yeah.
But if I get a righty BP thrower, I can usually hit more homers lefty.
Gotcha.
Like that.
That looked good.
Oh, shoot. Is that your light?
That's your. The orange is yours. That one's mine
I
over
thought
there.
so. Okay, I was like, if I break that one, I'm okay. I don't want to break yours.
One more.
Okay.
No. Better one. I'm around it.
Look good. Right on it.